The last one was the last one, but I decided I know what I'm getting myself for Christmas because I deserve it as a lifelong learner who learns to solve his own problems without blaming others, which is what growing up is. I gotta speak about growing up here is, I remember, this is something you guys face as well. It's everything every creature faces in the, taking responsibility for one's life type of growing up. I remember the stress of making a decision about a profession as if there was only one and you're stuck with it, but that's the programming that we often get. I remember the overwhelming, I've talked about this in counseling, but everybody would really, at a younger age, or even in their 20s, as societies become more and more dysfunctional, and a university convinces you, and then somebody says, well, look at this research, that's not a good profession to get into, and Master of Arts in Sustainable Leisure Management, there's really no profession for that, really. It really isn't. Unless you want to be an elitist prick as the profession kind of thing. Sorry about that. And now I defined it a particular way, right? And that could be one of the ways that they plagiarized me in the document where I fired them in 26 pages. I defined what for me it would be and how it would apply to cultural repair on an island, such as, could have been Japan, could have been Hawaii, Taiwan, could have been Jeju Island, could have been Vancouver Island. I mean, even if they steal it, they do not have the human thinking tools to succeed at it because there's a variety that they need. And really, they need to take a lot of programs as a PhD person, programs that are not even, credits for a bachelor's. So their egos wouldn't allow them to do that, to be part of the solution. So I remember how hard it is growing up and deciding, and this is related to, and bears don't have to do this, bears just will fight another male and eat the young of another male because genetically they're controlled. Now we're controlled mimetically a lot more than genetically, and that's not good because we are not in control of these mimetics, which is explained by my theory. They went out of control, and we've used them on each other so much, not just on plants and animals and farms, but on each other as proto-societies for so long now that they're out of control. The momentum is so strong that anybody that wants to act a little bit different, like not have a cell phone, in their culture is going to face so many barriers. Just one thing, like not having a cell phone. Because really, it's not really good for you if you measure what is healthy for your brain, for example. But again, you can't function in a society where you require other people to know how to communicate and to keep their word, for example, right? And people that don't want to be recorded in a phone conversation, what's the use having a phone? If they refuse because they want to manipulate you in some way. Such as recently with a bank, right? That I've demonstrated, but I'll post it later. I don't know, maybe before this, I don't know. Hasn't been decided yet. Again, there's always a perfect time, place, person, series of events to the professor of sociocybernetics for when to post a specific thing that I might have recorded today. It might not be today that I post it. Some is right away. Not all of them. There are reasons. There are strategies. So growing up is hard to do. It requires realizing the power we have as thinking creatures who are change engines, who can create a better culture, a worse culture. It's not just about us. We have the power to decide who we want to be when we grow up. And I see more and more people who just allow a domestication and reach some sort of elitist status, such as a PhD person with a big office. I don't really have much of an office in this, but I tell you, how come they don't accept my public debates at VIU, let's say, right? And it's not like I can't prepare or formulate arguments and keep the agreement of the subjects that me and that person would have agreed would be part of the public debate. And it's not like I can't show them respect as I do it. And it's not like I can't go from the beginning of the end of that debate without giving up. That's what they would do. So I've grown up. I've realized what power I have with this gigantic brain. And I've decided, to my detriment, I've decided to become an Homo sapien. I've decided to undergo the maturation process. I've decided to evolve sentience and sapience as much as I can, and suddenly it manifested into an ecocentric worldview. And again, various types of intelligence and a good balance of it. And again, that manifested into systems thinking, which again impacted other types of things where the brain functions more efficiently. I've talked in the past about how my working memory, which is like the RAM of a computer processing, was defective for a long time, and how I've cured this in myself. Part of it became eventually aware that it was improving, and then developing strategies for continuously improving it. So the acceleration of my evolution and maturation continued, while the devolution of the norm continued. And it's sad. Anyway, oh man, I totally got to get back to my topic of what I'm giving myself for Christmas. Sorry, it is the last log, Zen, and the art of suffering from species alienation, because you suffer from HSD, and you're quite happy with that, and taking along the rest of the biosphere, including your kids, with you. Yeah, so it's too tight. So I loosened this after I loosened the belt, and I did return the tool I didn't need, and they were nice. But what I'm going to do, because I removed this and I saw, yeah, it's just the bearing. We can just repack the bearing. I've never done this. I could learn to do this. And it's not a rush, although I'd prefer sooner rather than later in case it fails. And I'm going to just fix my own bearing, because the entire metal part that came with the rest, and they charged me $80 for it at Tirecraft in Hazleton, after the way they treated me, returning that and getting that almost $100 back, that part that still hasn't been used, will be my Christmas gift to myself. And I'm not talking about the monetary value. Remember, I'm not you. I'm talking about the satisfaction of proving to them I continued my evolution as a lifelong learner. Although I came up to this idea, I gotta admit, because it's so disorganized in there, I still haven't found where I put the part. I hope it's not in the back. It might be. And I don't feel like taking down my bicycle. So I realized, hey, that's just a bearing. But being disorganized helped, because my next step was asking the mechanic that did my front brakes, where I did buy him coffee, and we had a good chat, and he was happy. Way after, where he had no sense of having to deliver any services to me when I brought him the coffee, right? I'm just somebody who likes to keep his word, and chit-chatted, and again, I'm wishing his daughter well in her psychology program. And I don't know, I'd love to be in touch with her. I told him, I said, I don't think she'd be stuck to say, hey, what would be a good idea? But again, she'd have to get to know me to know it's worth getting to know me, to maybe give her some hints if she wants to be a culture repair in her field, or in the field of just the human condition in her studies, and what she decides to focus on. So when I return this part, when I find the receipt and that part in the back, and I return it, it'll be my birthday gift. It'll feel so good. I'll be almost like feeling like, just say, keep the money. I just wanted to return it. But again, keeping the money for people that are like this, although I'm not like this, is you're kind of rewarding them for screwing you. So I'm not going to let them keep the money. But it's not about the money. It's about the satisfaction of showing them, yeah, while I couldn't count on you, I became even better at counting on myself.